Gotta be something good on here. Yep. Good show. Full of heart.
Who cares what I think?
Moonjumper here with another sub-episode of Who Cares What I Think, specifically a snippet from my latest installment of Moonjumper's Amazon reviews. I'll link the complete episode down below and at the end of this video. I was reading right on the screen one of my own reviews I posted on Amazon 2 years ago regarding the high-definition Blu-ray release of the 1972 science fiction classic Silent Running, now celebrating its 50th anniversary. It was actually a rather lengthy essay for an Amazon review, if I'm being honest, but apparently a popular one. It's currently listed as the top Amazon review for this item, this Silent Running Blu-ray, with 106, now 107 upvotes I just noticed, from people who found this review helpful. A large portion of the review is talking about the technical aspects. It's remastered, HD, 1080p, Blu-ray, it's visually gorgeous. I talked about the heavy political aspects of the film, comparing the legitimate environmental concerns of the 1970s to all the political grifting of today. But not everybody cares about all that. They just want to know, is it a good movie? Well, roll the tape. Dramatically speaking, Silent Running isn't nearly as preachy or boring as I was expecting it to be. The inept marketing of this film has never done it any favors, a complaint the director has in the behind-the-scenes interviews found in the special features. Pretty interesting, by the way. Universal spent almost nothing to promote it, believing that its pure visual spectacle and a new, quote, hit single, end quote, from Joan Baez, cringe, was all that was needed to bring people in by word of mouth. Didn't happen. And the promotional blurbs about it that continue to be used to this day, i.e. the blurb on the back of this very Blu-ray, would have you believe that this must be the dullest sci-fi movie ever made. Basically implying that it's 2 hours of watching a lonely guy talk to his plants and 2 droids who can't even talk back. He's just a hippie environmentalist living by himself in space, and that's it. Who would want to watch that? But that's not what this film is at all. On the contrary, this movie is a dark, disturbing, Alfred Hitchcock-style thriller. Shortened, this could have easily been an episode of Alfred Hitchcock Presents, or The Outer Limits, or even The Twilight Zone minus any paranormal aspects. Spoilers, Bruce Dern portrays a disturbingly obsessed sociopath by the name of Freedom Lowell, who kind of gives true, well-meaning environmentalist a bad name by murdering his entire crew, who were completely innocent. I never got the sense that the filmmakers or the actor were making him out to be a hero for doing so. With wild, psychotic eyes, Lowell goes out of his way to cover up his crime and justify the unjustifiable, while the crew of another ship is busy risking their lives trying to rescue him, while he lies to them, making them believe that he and his crewmates are the victim of some tragic mishap that sent the Valley Forge off course. But no, this psycho is a calculating Hitchcockian killer with an agenda. He's kind of a Batman villain. Some of the best Batman villains are those whose motivations have kernels of nobility, but whose methods are so psychotic and destructive, Batman has to stop them. That's kind of what happens here, only instead of Batman taking him out, he actually grows remorseful enough to take himself out. While the film is sympathetic to his initial grievance, the protection of his greenhouse domes, it doesn't make him out to be anything other than a nut who needs to be brought to justice. It's actually a very engrossing and very sad tragedy, and even a cautionary tale to those who think as extremely as he does. Unfortunately, they, the woke, probably miss the whole point and see him as a hero. The movie does have its lapses in logic. I already mentioned that Earth supposedly has no vegetation left, but somehow supports a human population that sounds like a rather Star Trek-y utopia where there is no war, no disease, no unemployment, and our lefty environmental protagonist doesn't care much about that because there aren't enough trees left. He's fine with murder and mayhem as long as there's trees. But my point is, if all vegetation on Earth is gone, how is there any oxygen to breathe? You could rationalize some mechanical means of producing a breathable atmosphere, and this film's claim that the entire planet is a perfect 75 degrees no matter where you are would seem to imply that. But it's a stretch to say the least. But just as strange, there seems to be no logical reason for this fleet of greenhouse ships to be cruising around Saturn. There's no mention of colonies out this way, that would make sense then, but they are just cruising around the outer edges of the solar system for reasons. I assume there are colonies out there because these are cargo freighters taking cargo somewhere, but it's never made clear. When the ships are recalled, they are ordered to release their greenhouse domes and nuke them for reasons. Assuming you wouldn't want to bring them back to Earth for harvesting, why nuke them? Maybe a fuel versus mass thing. Regardless, just release them. What's the point of nuking them? And the dumbest thing of all is this expert botanist can't figure out why his plants are dying as he takes the ship farther and farther away from the sun. It occurs to him towards the end of the movie, I have been yelling at my TV screen for the past 45 minutes that you need the sun. He finally figures it out shortly before he offs himself. He caused their deterioration himself by stealing the ship and taking it beyond the sunlight's reach. Yet another cautionary tale about those self-appointed elites who presume to know more than the rest of us and don't.
And stop the tape. So yes, Silent Running has a couple of plot holes, but as a character study of Bruce Dern's Freeman Lowell, an environmental extremist who resorts to murdering his fellow human crewmates to somehow protect his greenhouses, which eventually will not even be able to survive in the darkness of deep space anyway, when he, a professional botanist, finally figures out that, oh, plants need the sun, he sets up some lighting and programs the droids to care for them as long as they can, but it's a temporary measure. He murdered innocent people for what he should have known was a lost cause, but insanity drove him, and not in the least bit heroically. He is the villain of the story, and that's how the film rightly portrays him. That is pure Hitchcock. Hitchcock had nothing to do with making of this film, but that is pure Alfred Hitchcock nonetheless, making this a wonderfully chilling thriller. Visually gorgeous, intriguing Hitchcockian thriller minus a couple of plot holes, so maybe not an A, but I enjoyed it. I give it a solid B+, or 4 out of 5 stars on Amazon. From deep in the heart of Texas, I am Moonjumper. Check out the full complete episode link down below and at the end of this video.
Who cares what I think?